Hey everybody, I want to take you through a quick tutorial about how to set up Kontakt 5 to have multiple instruments in the same instance of Kontakt, but be able to control that on different channels within FL Studio. And I'll show you how to set that up initially just to be able to play them, but also to send them to their own mixer tracks so that you can do some fun things with that later on. So the first thing that we're going to do is need to load in Kontakt. So we need to go into our VSTs, find Kontakt, and when you do this, make sure you grab either 8 out or 16 out because that lets you have multiple outputs. So you'll be able to have multiple instruments in FL Studio. So we loaded in Kontakt with 8 outs. So one of the first things you need to do is actually set up your input port. So set that to 0. Basically what that does is let the program FL Studio know what channels it needs to be listening to when you assign the MIDI channels to that, and we'll get to that in a second. So then go to your output section. We need to have like as many instruments as we want to have. We need to create the outputs for that. So we're going to add 2 more channels because I'm going to create 3 total today. Whoops, I'm not going to create 5. I'm going to create 2 more. And then we need to set up the outputs for those channels. So you go to the next set of the available stereo outputs. Did that wrong. I did that right. And then go to your third. You're going to go to the next available outputs. Don't worry about the names on these. They look like weird names and they may look different in your program, but don't worry about that. Just go to each stereo pair. So this is first stereo pair, second stereo pair, third stereo pair. All right. Great. So we say, okay, it's going to give us an error, and that's fine. We just say, all right, thanks a lot, Kontakt, for letting us know. Now let's go ahead and load in a couple quick instruments. So I'm going to go into my band. I'm going to go into here. I'm going to grab a drum kit. And then I'm going to grab a bass. Let's grab the classic bass. Let me get rid of the output really quickly. And then let's grab let's just grab some strings. Let's go orchestra on this bad boy and grab a violin ensemble. Why not? So now we have 3 different channels. But as you notice, all the outputs are set for the same thing. So we're going to need to set each instrument to its own specific thing, its own specific output. But you do notice that the MIDI channels are routed to 1, 2, and 3 already. So each time Kontakt loads an instrument, it puts it in its own MIDI channel. So that's great. We have these set up in Kontakt, and now we actually need to give some MIDI channels in FL Studio for it to actually listen to. First thing, I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of these other channels. So I highlight them, I select Alt, and then delete. That's a quick key for you. Press OK. It's going to knock those out. So let's go ahead and add in a MIDI out. And it's set to channel 1. That's great. So we're going to right click it, hit C, which is clone, hit enter, do the same thing for the next one, hit C, hit enter. We're going to set this one to channel 2. We're going to set this one to channel 3. So now if we go back to Kontakt, we should have on channel 1 a drum kit, on channel 2 a classic bass, and on channel 3 a violin ensemble. So if we did this right, this should be the drum kit. Awesome, it is. This should be the bass, which it is, and this should be the violins. And they are. I would recommend going in here, renaming and recoloring it. So this would be drums. Color it whatever you want to. I mean, it's not that big of a deal. Just pick something. This is the bass. So right click, rename, recolor, bass. Maybe make that a different color of blue. Come into here, rename and recolor. Let's call this violins. Let's make these a weirder color, like a red. Okay, so now we have these 3 channels. So one more thing that we're going to need to do is we need to route these to individual mixer channels. So the first thing that we need to go back into Kontakt. So let's open that back up. And let's go into this section, go into processing. So right now Kontakt is sitting inside of the master track. So let's go ahead and set it up for channel, I don't know, randomly 15. So then we need to set up the outputs, auto mapping the outputs. So what this is going to say is when we say 0 or 1 or 2 or 3, so 1, 2, and 3 means it's going to be 1 away from track 15, 2 away from track 15, and 3 away from track 15. So what should happen in this scenario is when we go back into our mixer in FL Studio, track 15 should have the main Kontakt instrument, and then track 16, 17, and 18 will have the drums, bass, and violin respectively. So if we go back in here, let's look at 16. Should be the drums. So let's pull that up and let's play that a little bit. So drums are now on 16. Bass is now on 17. And violin is now on channel 18. And this will allow you to process things so you could start adding in effects if you want to and do all kinds of fun stuff. So I just want to give you that tip, that trick. Hopefully this helps you out. It took me a little while to figure this out, but I wanted to pass that on. So hopefully you guys can use that and make use of that. Thanks a lot for watching this, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Thanks.